Hey, welcome back to the channel, everybody. Today you're checking out my new Stamina DK build for PvP. This is updated for Summerset and the Wolfhunter DLC, and overall just a really solid build, really tanky, does a lot of damage, and very good survivability and healing. So if you're looking for an in-your-face PvP build, stay tuned for the Dragon Warrior. Alright guys, so let's check out the stats first. And quick disclaimer, this is just, my take on the Stam DK. I haven't really played the class a lot before, but I've played it a lot over the past month in PvP and Battlegrounds, and it's just basically what works for me. So I know there's a lot of opinions out there, yada yada. I like it, so here we go. Max Magicka 10k, health 17, almost 18k. That'll bump up to about 22, 23 in PvP. Stamina is 36k. Recoveries are pretty low overall, but recovery is not a big issue on the build. We do have sustain from using ultimates as a Dragonknight, so not a big deal. Weapon damage buffed will be about 3.2k. This will go up with a weapon damage glyph on the back bar, get you to about 3.6, 3.7, and you could push this even higher because I don't have the best jewelry glyphs as well. Weapon crits looking pretty nice, 42%, and then our resistances do get buffed on the back bar from our major resistance buff, and looking pretty sweet, I would say. 30k spell resistance and 27k physical resistance makes us really, really tanky. This is our defensive and healing bar, so this is looking good. Also 2600 crit resist is looking good as well. We put all the points into stamina here. Makes sense. I've got the Warrior Mundus for extra weapon damage. I am using the gold Arteum takeaway broth. This is really nice if you can afford it. Prices are dropping a bit on console, so I think it is worth it. And the reason why it is worth it is because of the health recovery. I went with Nord for my race, and one of the reasons why is I do want to pump my health recovery up as high as possible. So I do like Nord. I know it's not like the meta Stam race for DK. You could obviously do Orc, Redguard. Those would be really good choices as well, but I just wanted something a little bit different, a little bit off meta. You do get the nice damage resistance passive, and like I said, health recovery and health bonuses on Nord is pretty nice as well. Okay, so jumping into our item sets next, let's start with the first 5-piece. This is Fortified Brass. This is a crafted set from Clockwork City, and it's one of my favorite sets for stamina PvP builds, especially in no CP and Battlegrounds. The reason why is it gives you health, and then you can see here just tons and tons of resistances. This is good because we can craft this in all medium armor and get all the really nice medium armor passives like reduced cost, stamina recovery, reduced cost of roll dodging, all of that, but still being basically as tanky as if we were wearing full heavy armor. So Fortified Brass, I'm using 3 pieces on the body and then 2 slots for the weapon. That's going to be our first 5-piece set. Next up is going to be Hulking Draugr, and I like this just for the max stamina. Pretty simple. All our bonuses go to stamina here, so it lets us pump up our stamina really high, and then we can do things like change some of our jewelry traits because we have so much extra stamina that we don't need, so it gives some more flexibility to the build. I definitely like it. You could also choose to run Bone Pirate. That'd be another nice option here. Just basically anything with a lot of stamina is going to help you do well on a Stam DK. So I am doing 2 pieces on the body there and then 3 jewelry. For the monster set here, I went with Troll King, medium as well, head and shoulders. And this is when I was talking earlier about the health recovery of the Nord coming into play, as well as the health recovery from the Arteum broth. This buffs your health recovery through the roof, basically 4k or more health recovery when you get down below 50% health. So this really, really helps the build stay alive when you get pressured, when you're taking damage from slows and oblivion damage and dots and things like that. This combined with some of our skills is going to really allow you to survive. So I think it's a must for the build. Troll King on the head and shoulder. Then for weapons. Weapons, we've got a fortified brass greatsword. This is Nirnhone, so just pumping out the extra damage with the Nirnhone trait there, as well as the greatsword. We are using a poison on the front bar, so just a double damage poison. I'm using the Crown Store version, but whatever you have here to deal some additional damage would be good. Then on the back bar, we're doing sword and shield. I also went with fortified brass here infused on the back bar weapon, and this is going to help us get that nice weapon damage proc every 5 seconds. There's no cooldown basically, or you can proc it on cooldown every 5 seconds, so you'll get that nice extra weapon damage. And then sword and shield just makes us a little bit tankier on the back bar where we're trying to heal up. And then as far as traits, you want to go with mostly impen. A couple of well-fitted is nice as well. Then for jewelry traits, I did go with 1 stamina recovery, 2 weapon damage. Still need to gold these out, obviously. And then I went with 1 swift and 1 robust. Or, sorry, 2 robust and 1 swift. So the thinking there is I need to be in melee range. I'm already going to use speed potions. I don't know if I mentioned that before. Speed potions on the build combined with swift is going to make you super fast. This will help you track down your opponents, get in melee range, stay in there, and apply a lot of pressure. So I do like at least 1 swift trait on here. You could even run 2 or 3 if you wanted. There's enough stamina, I think, when using hulking, where you can trade in these traits for something else. So at least 1 swift, you could do 1 infused if you want, but I just have robust on the others. All right, let's check out the skills next and how they work. So starting with our two-hander, which is our offensive bar, we've got reverse slice. This is our execute, also does a nice AoE splash damage here, really low cost. Next up, Venom Claw is your dot pressure, basically, so 10-second dot. And the damage ramps up the longer the dot is on the target. So make sure you're not, reapplying this every 2-3 seconds. You want to just apply it once and basically let it work its way through the target. It also does a nice snare, super low cost as well. The snare comes from the Ardent Flame passive Warmth, which did get a little bit of a nerf in Wolfhunter, but still pretty nice. 3 seconds, 30% movement speed snare. This is going to help you land your offensive combo. So I do like putting that on early in the fight and then just letting it tick. Expert Hunter. This was something that I added to the build a little bit later for a couple reasons. Number one is you can see it's going to give us Major Savagery, and that's basically a 10% weapon crit bonus. So that's really nice. Frees us up to use some different potions as well. And then the other thing that I like about this is it's great for Nightblades. So you can see it's going to detect invisible enemies for 5 seconds, and it keeps them from returning to stealth for 3 seconds. So if you are fighting a Nightblade and they try to cloak to get away from you, just pop this once. It'll bring them out, and then you can put on a Venom Claw and basically do your combo, finish them off from there. So I love this. I like having it on the front bar especially. Dizzy Swing, this is our basic offensive spammable skill, does a ton of damage, 14k unbuffed right now, does a nice stun and knockback. So you're going to combine this with other things like reverse slice, for example, or with our ultimate, just to deal ridiculous amounts of damage. Now it is a channeled ability. It does have a 1 second cast time, which means it can be difficult to land. It can take a little bit of practice. What we're doing, though, to help with that is, number one, on our jewelry, remember we are running Swift, so that's going to let you kind of move behind somebody as you are channeling this, trying to keep them in front of you, and just be at a good distance there where you'll land it kind of behind their back, and they won't see it coming. And then two, you want to have Venom Claw on them, because, as I mentioned, the snare from the passive is going to make them move a little bit slower, and it's going to help you land those. So I think if you have those in combination, the Swift Jewelry and some type of snare on your opponent, you're going to be able to land it majority of time. And then last up here, forward momentum. This is our major brutality buff, 20% weapon damage. A nice little heal. It's not a lot, but it does help to proc our Troll King, which is good. That will proc even when you're running away, right? So that's a good thing to get your Troll King health recovery up. But you're mainly using it offensively to engage with a target, and then also defensively to remove snares. For the ultimate, we've got Take Flight, the old school Dragon Leap, and just does a ton of damage. Like I said, you can combo this with other things like a Dizzy Swing. So Dizzy Swing stuns them, pops them up in the air, and then just slam them down with this Take Flight. They're pretty much done. You can finish them with a couple of reverse slices at that time. Your Venom Claw should be ticking away, so there's really hard for them to come back after that. It's a low-cost ultimate. You can use it even as a gap closer, so the range is pretty good, 28 meters. You can definitely cover some distance with this thing, jump into a group of enemies, and just wreak havoc, basically. So it's fun. I love it. Definitely your number one choice for ultimate on the front bar. And then coming over to our back bar, this is our Sword and Shield. I'm using Heroic Slash, and that's mainly for the minor heroism buff, so this is going to help us get ultimate faster. It's going to help us get more leaps more quickly as well. The minor maim is not bad either, reducing enemy damage by 15%. That's really nice. And it does a pretty hefty snare as well, so that does help. Damage is not bad either. Reflective Plate, this is your get out of trouble skill for sure. So it has a hefty magicka cost, 3.5k, but it does reflect 4 projectiles, and it does now, in Wolfhunter, give you immunity to snares for 2 seconds. Really nice. So you've got your immunity, on the front bar, forward momentum. Pop this if you're on your front bar. If you're on your back bar, use your wings, and that will give you the same kind of immunity. So I like that we have that type of skill on both bars. Really nice. And then the reflect, if you got somebody just beating on you like a Magicka Nightblade, for example, this is the perfect counter to a Mag Nightblade because it'll reflect funnel, it will reflect their light attacks from Destro. It's a great skill. So it is costly, you have to use it wisely, but once you learn how to use it, it's going to really help your survival. Moving on to our heal, it's really the only major heal on the build, Resolving Vigor. It's a heal over time, and you'll want to use this pretty constantly, pretty consistently when you're taking damage. The trick, though, is to combine this when you're getting low health, to combine it with our next skill, which is the Fragmented Shield buff. What Fragmented Shield does is it gives you Major Mending for 5.5 seconds. Major Mending is a huge buff in ESO. Not many classes get easy access to it. I would say this skill, Fragmented Shield, is probably one of the easiest ways to get Major Mending, and we've just got it all the time. Right there, 5.5 seconds of Major Mending, so you're going to combine that and then your Vigor. Each tick of Vigor is going to tick for 25% more healing when you have that buff active. Now you can't do it all the time, right? Because 4K Magicka costs a good bit of magic. But like I said, whenever you're getting in trouble, definitely channel that. This helps with healing your group too. A lot of times, if my group is in trouble, I'm super tanky, so I'm probably fine. But my group may be taking a lot of damage. I will pop this because it is a group. It's an AoE shield. And then I will pop my Vigor. And since Vigor is an AoE heal, all my teammates are going to get that extra healing, that extra 25% from my Vigor as well. So there's been a lot of battlegrounds where we don't have a healer. Me on this build, I'm basically the healer. I can pull a couple 100k healing in a battleground pretty easily using Vigor and Fragmented Shield. So I love it. I love the changes that they made to this morph. It's really nice for Stam DK. And then Volatile Armor is just our major resistance buff. And then lastly, Corrosive Armor. This is really just, if you have nothing left, this will basically make you invulnerable for about 10 seconds. It'll let you get some heavy attacks in, get some sustain back, And it also makes your attacks ignore physical resistance. So if you're fighting a super tanky build, this actually is not bad because it'll make your other skills like Dizzy Swing and Venom Claw and Reverse Slice really cut through their armor because your attacks are going to ignore all physical resistance. So it is kind of a nice option for fighting tankier builds as well. Okay, so let's check out champion points just really quickly. These are updated now for Wolfhunter DLC. So 31 into Warlord, 39 Sprinter, 2 left over for bashing, 43 into Tenacity. You can do a lot of heavy attacks on the build on either bar, and you can get some good sustain that way. 7 into Arcanist, 43 Mooncalf, 43 Healthy. I just chose to amp up that health recovery even more, so this, Troll King, Nord passive, or you could do Orc passive, it's the same, and our gold Artaeum takeaway. Like I said, health recovery is going to be really nice on the build. 18 Shadow Ward, 34 into Tumbling, 23 Blessed, 19 Physical Weapon, 61 Master Arms, 20 into Shattering Blows, 34 Precise Strikes, 39 Piercing, 64 into Mighty, 37 Ironclad, 45 Resistant, 49 into Hardy and Elemental Defender, 34 Thick-Skinned, 19 Expert Defender, and 27 into Quick Recovery. Alright everybody, that's gonna about do it for the Stam DK PVP build video. Hope you enjoyed it. Remember to drop a like and a subscribe if you're not already subbed to the channel. Why the heck not? It is free, doesn't cost you a thing, and it helps me out. So go ahead and hit that subscribe button. I've got a few more build videos in the works coming up soon, working on the Magicka Templar PvP build and a few other things, so stay tuned for updates to the channel. And until then, I'm just going to leave you with a couple of sick dragon leaps. So I'll see you guys around. Peace.